Hey everyone, it's WiNGSPANTT, and it is time for Duels of the Planeswalkers 2013. I wish I could be saying it's 2014 time, but unfortunately I do not have any kind of demo build of 2014, at least not yet, and we may have to wait until E3 or some later time for that. And here I just want to go back to some footage of some pretty cool games I played. I think I previewed 2 of these matches out of the set of 4 that I played against Matthias and someone whose name starts with D. And this time I was playing with, of course, my favorite Izzet deck here, going blue-red against Goblins. And the one thing, everyone says, it's so funny, in 2012, in Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012, everyone complained that Cloudburst was the worst deck in the game. Like, Cloudburst is unplayable, there's no way to win with Cloudburst, blah, blah, blah. And then we get into 2013, we go directly into it with Mindstorms, and we have a deck here that has practically no cards that you can play before turn 3. I mean, this is a pretty good starting hand. Like, this was not a bad starting hand. Sure, I was kind of like land screwed. Probably shouldn't have taken this hand, but because I don't know, he was playing Goblins, I just figured I'm going to lose anyway. I didn't want to mulligan too many times, and I figured he'd have one of these land guys, the little land searching Goblins that reveal lands off the top of your deck, and if it is land, it goes in your hand. Unfortunately, if he has 2 of them, and the top card is not a land, it doesn't dig in deeper. However, you do get this cool effect here where if the top card is a land, you could have 2. Of course, I'm taking 4 damage to face every turn right now, so I'm pretty much in a bad position. And now he's dropping another creature, Goblin Bushwhacker. It appears he's land screwed, the only thing keeping me from not being pretty much dead next turn. Or possibly this turn he could have played the Bushwhacker, kicked it, it would have been an extra 4, it would have been a lot of damage, it would have been bad. So here I get my Arc Lightning out, great, take out 2 creatures, of course I'm already down half my life, he still has 5 cards in hand, he's still at 20 life, and this is pretty much the main problem in Mindstorms, it's just, there's nothing to do before turn 3. You have a couple pingers that cost 2 mana, you have a couple mana leaks, and that's it. There's no 1 or 2 damage, 1 or 2 mana burn spells, there's no 1 or 2 mana creatures you could drop out early. It would be so good just to have some fog banks or some kind of walls or any of those Kraken hatchlings. There's really even nothing to play on turn 4. You have a couple Steam Core weirds, which yes, against Goblins would be decent now to drop. I could drop it, kill off that attacking Goblin, have a blocker in play. But it's so substandard to drop WiNGSPANTT here. And again, this was a pretty decent hand, all things considered. Yes, I could have had more land, but really, there was just not a lot to do. And of course, Reverberate is technically playable on turn 2, but what are you really going to play against it? And here, Goblin Chieftain, of course, now his creature's going to get +1/+1 and have haste. Next turn, I'm in a lot of trouble. I was really hoping to drop another WiNGSPANTT next turn, but it's not going to be viable. All I can do is block off the 2 damage, take the 3 to the face, and go down 5 life here. And I don't think I've made any terrible errors so far, but then again, I haven't had a lot of choice on what to play. I would have absolutely loved to hit my 5th land so that I could possibly electrolyze if it were a mountain and reverberate it and do a whole kill both those guys, draw 2 cards. It would have been absolutely great, but instead, I'm going to ditch, I don't think the Spellbound Dragon. No, Beacon of Destruction is a waste of time. He doesn't have any creatures big enough to warrant doing 5 damage to. And unfortunately, Electrolyze is just not going to come into play. I want to see what he plays here. He's going to play a Goblin. And of course, this is the worst thing I could see. Battle Rattle Shaman. At the beginning of combat, a creature can get +2/+0. And the fact that I am losing to a deck that has Battle Rattle Shaman in it, which is unarguably a terrible card, like it's 4 mana for this effect, is just so indicative of how badly put together Mindstorms is. Like, where are the shocks? Where are the other 2 mana leaks in this deck? Why are there not 4 of them? It just seems a little brutal. Now, of course, he's going to give his 2/2 guy +3/+0. Of course, this is replayed. I replayed this match. I know exactly what happens. And now I pretty much have. I was going to electrolyze, and then I realized I should wait till he actually attacks. Now use the electrolyze, kill off this guy. My little Dragonauts will become 3/3, and now I can take out his. Well, I could take out the Battle Rattle, but it seems pointless. I'm going to kill off the King, which gives everything haste. I can, of course, use the next Electrolyze next turn. Hopefully, I'll kill the Battle Rattle. I don't know why I did that. Oh, because I already killed the King. Oops. King's already dead. I figured I would leave the land guy alive so I could potentially draw more land. And here I could cast the Dragonauts, I could cast the Dragon, I could leave mana open for Electrolyze with the double Reverberate. There's a lot of options here. Pretty much all of them are mediocre, but I think just playing the Dragonauts, if he plays a spell, I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter. And you're going to find out why it doesn't matter in a second. And here I was just so ready. I'm like, come on, play your creature, play some spell. And he's like, alright, I'm going to shock. He's going to kill my blockers. I'm like, nope, he's going to shock me to the face. Alright. Double shock to the face. And I can't say now that I'm shocked to see the shocks coming for the face. But just for lulz, I'm going to reverberate it, make my guys 3/3s, and be like, you know, you're going to kill me? Well, neener. Going to take out your Goblin. That is it. That's the end of the game. So Mindstorms, I like this deck, but still, when I hear people, it's just so ironic to think about going back, people complaining the Cloudburst was so bad. It was not that bad. It's just that some of the decks in 2012 were so overpowered, like Benighted, like the Realms of Illusion or whatever it was called, that just seemed like Cloudburst was bad. But if I could have had Cloudburst in 2013, I think I could have had a legitimate shot there. And now I'm going to be going into Rogues Gallery against Damien, and guess what deck Damien is playing? He's playing Goblins. Now, Rogues Gallery is another deck that people always complain about being underpowered. And my deck guide that I put together in Top 10 Tactics, in retrospect, I realized that it was kind of a little high in the mana curve. And I should probably go back and edit it. But I've edited it in game. I've included a lot of creatures that are, I would consider to be bad. Pretty much these vanilla creatures, the 3/2 and 2/2 guys that, oh god damn it, Warren Instigator, so overpowered. Why is that in this game? But I do have Agony Warp, which is absolutely great, especially against Goblins. And I have a really good starting hand against Goblins. I got Agony Warp here, so I can kill off the Warren Instigator and weaken the other dude and be like, hey, look, it's kind of cool, Agony Warp, because it's kind of like you kill one of them, you put them in physical agony, right? And you weaken the other one, you give it a -3/-. Oh, you're putting in like emotional agony, all right? So it's kind of like, hey man, one of your friends died and the other one's going to be mourning for his pal. Yeah, he's so sad, he's a -2/1. Now I got Barony Vampire here. Again, not a great card. It's a 3/2 for 3, very vanilla, super boring. But at least it's a creature on the board, and that's another problem. That's one of the other problems. It's shared between Mindstorms and Rogues Gallery. There's not a lot of great cards to play early in the game, so you're forced to either play terrible cards or not play them at all. And don't get me wrong, there's lots of good cards in Rogues Gallery that cost more mana, but they cost more mana. Barony Vampire here, looking sexy, pretty sexy for a creature that's absolutely worthless. And Goblin Goon. 6/6, it's got haste, thanks to that little lord. And I'm just going to take it to the face. I feel like a lot of players wouldn't take it to the face. But as long as I have my 3/2 creature, he's not going to attack with his 1/1, he's not going to attack with his Chieftain, so I'm going to leave him. But what he doesn't know is Baron is spiteful. Baron is spiteful because someone tried to sleep with his daughter, Hannah of the Weatherlight. And he's just going to rip them to shreds. He's got to choose one of these creatures to return to his hand, one of them sacrifice. I am absolutely glad either way it goes. He returns the 6/6 to his hand, fine. He returns and he kills the 2/2, the Chieftain, fine. If I were him, I would sack the 6/6. That's exactly what he does. And now he's put back in a lot of tempo. Now, I'm at 13 life, he's at 20, but I'm now in my power zone of cards that I can play, cards that I actually want to play. His cards he's playing from now on are just cards he's replaying from previously. Fine, he gets the Chieftain back out. He's not going to swing into this. I wouldn't. Alright. And he lets me go. And every turn the Goblins doesn't attack is bad news for Goblins. And now here comes Grim, Corpseborn, fucking zombie legend warrior. Jesus Christ, this guy is cool. 5 mana. Comes into play tapped. You think that's garbage. He doesn't untap ever. The only way you can untap him is by feeding him corpses. And really, I should have attacked there. I really should have attacked. And every time you feed him corpse, he gets +1/+1. Whenever he attacks, you get to feed him one of your opponent's corpses, and then he gets a +1/+1 counter. So let's see what Damien's going to do. Damien is going to Gem Palm Incinerator my guy, which is stupid. I don't know why he would do that. So instead, I'm going to sacrifice him and untap Grim. I don't think he has read Grim Corpseborn, nor knows that I can sacrifice any creature I want at any time. He wants to force me to untap Grim. Okay. Not really such a bad deal, but I have Flight of Fancy here. Give Grim flying, draw 2 cards. I don't really see any drawback Hopefully I'll draw into a creature I could play to untap Grimgrin. Grimgrin, say that 10 times fast. And I do draw some creatures. Alright, pretty cool. Now, the other thing with Grimgrin is that when you attack, you get to kill any creature of your choice that your opponent owns. Well, hello, Goblin Chieftain. I believe you're going to the graveyard. Grimgrin is going to like McDonald's because ba-da-ba-ba-ba. He's loving it. Every time you kill a creature, he eats it. Then I get to drop another 2/2 on the board. Have the option to feed him to Grimgrin and draw a card. So yeah, Damien is in a world of hurt now. Unless he has a shock and a Goblin Grenade, willing to throw them both at Grimgrin. He's in a lot of trouble, and those 1/1 guys are not going to help him right now. Filling the board with tokens, not so cool. At this point, I'm like, I have Memory Plunder. I could actually get 2 tokens by playing Memory Plunder and using Krenko's Call, or whatever the hell it's called. Right now, untap Grimgrin and just steal his guys, or I could sacrifice my own dude and my little Guildmaster there, and untap Grimgrin, attack, make him think I'm defenseless, and then as an instant, play Memory Plunder and get a bunch of blockers, get Grimgrin as a blocker, and just pretty much just fuck up his whole plan. So, I don't know. Or I could play Gren Alendra Liege. Could also do that. I don't have, unfortunately, enough mana to cast the Liege and the Memory Plunder, but I'm just going to go in for Grimgrin. Weaken his forces. Now, at this point, I was like, oh, math-wise, I don't know if there's some kind of... I don't know why. There's no real reason to kill the Bushwhacker over anything else that's already in play. But I guess if I get another Baron Spite, I don't want him to have the option of returning that to his hand and recasting it with the kicker. Just going to swing in for 9 overhead. And at this point, he's like, well, I'm defenseless. I got 13 life. I'm trying to think, like, is there anything he could play to totally screw me over? If he plays if he gives all of them +1/+1, he could attack for 8. And then Goblin Grenade, that's 5. Alright, he could kill me under that situation, but I do have Memory Plunder still. Goblin Arsonist, very cool, very cool. Now he's going to attack. And here's the Memory Plunder. Now, of course, I was worried with Memory Plunder for a second. I'm like, is Memory Plunder, if I use it on a sorcery card, can I still cast a spell? The answer is yes, because basically Memory Plunder just says you can cast a spell. And now I pause the clock again. I'm going to use Grimgrin's ability to sack one of these guys and untap it. Now I could have just suicide sacked to block one of these guys, but I want to untap Grimgrin so I have something to attack with next turn. And unless he has some ridiculously sneaky card that costs 1 mana and deals 9 damage, which obviously shouldn't exist, he is screwed. That's pretty much it. You saw last week that Damien rage quits out of the following game when I go for Celestial Light. I believe he played Goblins once again. I don't remember what he played, but I played Celestial Light, and he was not happy with my turn 3 combo. Totally screwed him over. Grimgrin, it doesn't even matter what I kill at this point. I'm just going to kill something. Fly in for a lethal damage, 11 damage, and that is it. Anyway, everyone, I'm WiNGSPANTT from TopTierTactics.com. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.